Hi, Anna again. Still with personality adaptations and still in recovery. So I want to talk about borderline personality disorder. Yeah, the one, I'll say something that at the time, especially when I had this in full throw, I really preferred my narcissistic personality disorder because I felt sort of like two overwhelming feelings, really. I felt, bravado, hungry, horny, like angry, and terrible shame, but I would go away whenever I would feel the shame, and that was really like the thing that I would hold to the side, but mostly I just wanted a good time. When I had borderline personality disorder, I could not for the life of me for years and years and years. It took me a long time to figure out how to be with these overwhelming feelings. They were overwhelming and I wanted to die a lot. So I'm going to go over the symptoms of this and talk about it from the inside and see if it helps with, again, if you're coming to this, it's because you got someone in your life and you want to maybe hear about it from someone who's further along the way and might be able to give you some insight. So some of the symptoms: an intense fear of abandonment, even going to extreme measures to avoid real or imagined separation or rejection. When I was in this, literally imagined rejection and separation. It was a constant terror, constant. I imagined slights, I imagined rejection everywhere. We have a pattern of unstable, intense relationships, such as idealizing someone one moment and then suddenly believing that the person doesn't care or is cruel. Yeah. So I think, I don't really know, but I think that underneath my bravado, it's sort of like the wounded child, really. A shadow part was this, after the Kevlar came off, this was the wounded child underneath, and the narcissistic personality disorder was really the defense mechanism on top of this. And then there's stuff that was even underneath this borderline, which at some point I'll go into. Rapid changes in self-identity and self-image that include shifting goals and values and seeing ourselves as bad or if we don't exist at all. That's sort of a terrifying aspect of the borderline personality disorder, is that at some point we see ourselves as so shamefully, horrifically bad and wrong. We see ourselves as made so deeply wrong. And because that's sort of like our persona, and because it was projected onto us as like deeply wrong, that we actually don't feel like we exist. We're in touch with a part of us that just literally doesn't exist as a whole and complete self. It's terrifying. We have periods of stress-related paranoia and loss of contact with reality lasting from a few minutes to a few hours. We just dissociate. We're not even really here. Something happens where we get so anxious that it like has us fly out. We engage in impulsive and risky behaviors such as gambling, reckless driving, unsafe sex, spending sprees, binge eating, drug abuse, sabotaging success by suddenly quitting a good job or ending a positive relationship. Do I have to tell you all of the hits of like what I've done? Yeah, I did. I drank a lot. I mean, I'm laughing about it now, but yeah. I remember years and years ago dating someone who was so good to me. And I had a moment of clarity for just a hot second where I said out loud, I was like, I'm not used to being like, I had really trained the people in my life to be a little bit impatient and abusive on some level, or I was abusive to them. Mostly I was abusive to them. And this person was like genuinely kind and good and like just a solid human. And I was like, I'm not used to being treated like this. And he was like, get used to it. And I sabotaged that shit quick. Got the hell out of that relationship. I'm in a relationship now that's like solid and good. And I am slow enough now and self-aware enough now to actually take in the good and not blow it up. but I still have moments where I want to really I talk about it, and I will talk about it in subsequent videos. But yeah, this is one of those things where it's like you sabotage good things. Yeah. Suicidal threats or behavior or self-injury. And by the way, unsafe sex, it's a common. There was a time when I didn't brush my teeth, and I have great teeth, thank the Lord, but it's not that I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't get my teeth cleaned for like 8 years. This was after my father and my brother's deaths. Goodbye. Suicidal threats or behavior or self-injury, often in response to fear or separation or rejection. I never did that, but I certainly wanted to kill myself. I had a lot of suicidal ideation. I never made those threats, but out loud to people, but it was there all the time. Wide mood swings lasting from a few hours to a few days, which can include intense happiness, irritability, shame, or anxiety. I don't have wide mood swings anymore, but I do have different moods and sort of like personas, but not really personas, but just like qualities, things like aspects of my personality that will come out. And I remember a friend of mine saying, "You're not happy right now?" I'd be like, "I'm so unhappy. I'm crying." And she was like, "Don't worry about it. In a couple of days, it'll be completely different for you." And that's true. That was true. It is. I'm generally, even if I didn't have these disorders, I'm generally a person who has like wide range of emotions. I'm solid enough now that I can hold all of those emotions and the swing of them and stay calm and present inside of like, oh, look at me, I'm so angry right now, or look at me, I'm super happy or super sad. I can like hold the space and not be driven like a sheet or like a plastic bag in the wind. But an intense symptom of this particular thing is like wide swinging mood swings. Ongoing feelings of emptiness. It's just a terrifying aspect of this particular disorder. Inappropriate, intense anger, such as frequently losing your temper, being sarcastic or bitter, or having physical fights. I never had physical fights, but I would get triggered about and just get so angry or fear the worst or assume the worst. So this is a really intense, of all of them, like the borderline personality disorder and the panic disorder, which went hand in hand for a long time, were super intense. You can understand, as someone who had been narcissistic, who didn't have those kinds of fallible feelings, to go to this and to have this suddenly be the case was a dramatic, in my view at the time, fall from grace. No, I mean, the reality is that it actually opened me up to be a human being, but at the time it did not seem like a good thing. If you have any questions, like what it's like on the inside, and especially now that I have a lot of view and I can look at it in my rear view mirror and see, if you have any questions about what it might be like for your people or your person or even yourself, let me know. All right, bye.